We're on page 80, topic 15, and the problems we're going to do are 3K and 3M right here. So 3K, 3M, 4A, 4M, N, and the last one is 5A. So let's get started. And here we're going to multiply and simplify. So most of what we have to do in these kinds of problems is factoring. So I've repeated the problem down here. I've rewritten it. And I've factored the x squared minus 1 as x plus 1 and x minus 1. It's the difference of squares. Similarly here, 9x squared is 3x plus 1. And here it's 3x minus 1. So in both these cases, there's no middle term. They're both, one is plus here and one is minus. They're the difference of squares, okay, because 9 is 3 squared, 1 is 1 squared. Here you've got a coefficient 1, and this is 1. So these are all easy to factor, and when you factor, you'll notice that for these two terms, there's no middle term because the inner and outer both cancel, and for these two terms, the inner and outer both cancel. So you've only got a first and a last term. When we factor this one, now look at this. This is plus and this is plus. Then the signs between these can only be plus. So in this case, 3x times x gives me 3x squared. The outer is plus 3x. The inner is plus x. They sum to give me the middle 4x. And the last times the last gives me plus 1. So that one, obviously the factors, because this is plus, both of these have to be plus. Now in this case, the middle term is minus and the last term is plus. If this is the case, both terms must have a negative sign between them. The terms between here and here must be negative, and the sign between here and here must be negative. So if you take 3x times x, you get 3x squared. Your inner is minus x. Your outer is minus 3x. So they sum to give you minus 4x. And your last is minus 1 times minus 1 gives you plus 1. So now you look for the common factors. 3x plus 1 can be canceled here. X plus 1 can be canceled here. X minus 1 can be canceled here. And so we're left with 1. Every single term cancels. 3x plus 1. The x plus 1, the 3x minus 1 right here, and the x minus 1. So each one of these cancels, and we're left with 1. Same kind of problem here. We've got multiplication, so we have to factor each one of these terms. Each one of these polynomials has to be factored. So first of all, I'm going to start with the first one, x squared minus 1. I get x plus 1, x minus 1. It's the difference of squares. This is also the difference of squares, x plus 2, x minus 2. And here I can factor out 3 from both terms. So it's greatest common factor. 3 times x gives me 3x, and 3 times minus 2 gives me minus 6. So the top is now factored. Here I can take out the number 2 from both these terms, and I get 2x minus 2. Now this one here and this one here, the only difference is the sign here. So here we can see that in order to get this, we've got to have an x and an x. And we have to have a minus 2, so one of these terms has to be minus 2 plus 1. Now, if you can see that the inner one is minus 2x and the outer one is plus x, and that gives us the minus x. If we reverse this, we make this plus 2 and this minus 1, and the inner is plus 2x minus x, which gives me the plus x here. So just be careful when you factor there. It's the key is the middle term, minus x and plus x. So it's how you put the signs between the terms. This is the same as this is the same as that is the same as that, and that's the same as that. But here one is minus x in the middle, and here is plus x. So this one, the combination of the inner and the outer, minus 2x plus x gives me minus x. Here, the plus 2x and the minus 1x gives me plus x. Now again, I want to cancel x minus 2, x minus 2, x minus 2 here, and this x minus 2, x plus 1, x plus 1, and x minus 1, and x minus 1. So all I'm left with is the 3 over the 2. Everything else cancels. 3 over 2, and there's my answer right there. Divide and simplify. So here we have 3x squared over 2y all squared, 3x all squared over 2y all squared divided by 6x cubed, and here the denominator is 16y squared. So I've just repeated this, and I'm changing this into a multiplication, the division into a multiplication, by flipping this here, invert and multiply. So this goes to the numerator, and this whole term goes to the denominator. Now 9 times 16 gives me 144. X squared, y squared, right here. 4 times 6 gives me 24. Y squared x cubed, or x cubed y squared. Now 24 goes into 144 6 times. And the y squareds cancel because they're the same. You bring the power 2 down, it becomes 3 minus 2, x to the 1 on the denominator, or x. So the answer is 6 over x. Now you can do a process of, say, okay, 4 into 16 gives you 4, and then this reduces to 3 over 2, multiply them out, you'll still get the same answer. So where you do this simplification doesn't really matter as long as you do it correctly. And so I've chosen to multiply the numbers, 9 by 16, 144, 4 by 6, 24, and then say 24 goes into 144 6 times. All right, let's go to the next problem. And here we have a division again. So I've rewritten this, rewritten the problem, division, and what I've done is switch it to multiplication. So right over in this part, I've switched to multiplication. But first of all, I'm going to factor 3x squared out of here. So the highest number that goes into 12 and 15 is 3. And I take the lowest power of x, which is x squared. 3x squared times 4x squared gives me 12x to the 4th. 3x squared plus 3x squared times plus 5 gives me 15x squared. This one is a trinomial, and I'm going to factor it, and I get 5x times 3x gives me 15x squared, and minus 2 times plus 1 gives me minus 2. My inner term is plus 5x, and my outer term is minus 6x, and that's how I get the minus x in the middle. So this factors to this. You can group it if you want, or you can just see, you can see by trial and error. There's no way that you're going to be able to get 15 and 1 as the factors here and be able to come out with a term of minus x. So 5x and 3x works, and then you play around with these numbers if you want, or you can do factor by grouping. Now here what we did from here to here, we just flipped it. So we invert and multiply. We put the 9 squared on the top, minus 1 on the top, and the 4x squared plus 5 on the bottom. This factors to 3x plus 1. It's the difference of squares, and 3x minus 1. And now we just look at the top and the bottom. This and this cancel. This and this cancel. And I'm left with 3x squared, which is this term, 3x minus 1, which is this term, over 5x minus 2, which is that one. And at this point, there's nothing more I can do with that. Okay, so here we have multiply or divide and simplify. So the first thing we're going to do is just rewrite the problem. So this is just rewritten. I'm going to change from this line to this line. I'm just going to flip and multiply. I'm going to put this, move this up to the numerator, and this down to the denominator. Now I'm going to factor this, so I get x and x plus 5. This here, trinomial, factors to x minus 5 times x plus 4. And you can see the middle term is minus 5x. The outer term, the inner one is minus 5x. The outer one is plus 4x. They sum to give you minus x. And the minus 5 times the plus 4 gives you the minus 20. This is the difference of squares, x plus 5 times x minus 5. This I'm going to factor as 3 bracket x plus 4. 3 times x gives me 3x. 3 times plus 4 gives me plus 12. And finally, what I'm going to do over here, factor out 3 from these two terms. That's the greatest common factor. The greatest integer that goes into both of those is 3. I'm going to be left with x squared minus 9. And here I'm just going to factor out x from these two terms. There's no number I can factor out, but I factor out the lowest power of x here. X times x gives me x squared. X times plus 3 gives me plus 3x. So I've got x plus 3, x minus 3 for x squared minus 9. Here I've got x plus 3. Let's go over this. This is x, x plus 5, x plus 5, x minus 5. So that's all in here. Then this part, x minus 5 is over here. X plus 4 is over here. 3 times x plus 4 is here. This 3 is that 3. This is x plus 3. This is x plus 3 here. This x here is that x. So we're all taken care of here. And when you forget about this little box here, it's just a glitch with the software when I copied it from my math program. So it doesn't mean anything. So when you cancel everything, the x cancels with the x plus 5 cancels, the x minus 5 cancels, the x plus 4 cancels, the x plus 3 cancels. This 3 cancels with that 3. All you're left with is x minus 3. There's your answer right there. And that completes page 80 and the problems that we're going to do on page 80.